Sorry? Yes, on YouTube. Uh, Hi, Sif. Welcome. Great to have you here. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, and thank you for joining. It's great to be here. It's a wet day over here in Lagos, Nigeria. How are you doing? I hope your weekend is going on well. So happy to be here. It's our high performance live session for the weekend. Just so happy to be here to do this. How was your week? I hope your week went well. I know definitely you were out there crushing those goals. Just want to say big well done to you. The Lord is your strength and continue to keep your hands lifted. Um, Today is the 24th of June. We have exactly 6 more days to the end of the first half of this year, 2023. We have every reason to be grateful to God for. It just looked like yesterday that we started the year, and now we're talking about the second half of the year already. So grateful to God for His mercies towards us, for health, for strength, for every single thing, for your career, for your business, for your relationships. I'm just so grateful to God, and I can't wait to see you in the second half of the year. Can't wait to see you at the end of the year and many more years to come. Just want to say big well done to you as a high performer, going out there, crushing it in everything that you are doing. It's our high performance live for the weekend. Just want to share a few thoughts even as you continue the weekend, but the new week is starting tomorrow. So just share a few thoughts to help you, set the tone for the week ahead of us, and not just for the week ahead of us, but even for the second half of the year that is coming very soon. And this evening, I'll be talking about turning setbacks into comebacks. Turning setbacks into comebacks. And that's what I'm going to be talking about this evening. Who doesn't love a comeback story, right? Whether it's Steve Jobs taking Apple from its downward spiral in the late 90s to what it has become today, the most valuable company on in the planet. Hi, your kind of girl. Great to have you here. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Or whether it's FC Barcelona, if you are a football fan, FC Barcelona overcoming that 4 goal deficit. Remember that very interesting match. Hi, City Bakes. Great to have you here. Welcome. That's awesome and legendary match where FC Barcelona overcame a 4 goal deficit in the UEFA Champions League. I think that was the second leg of the round of 16 against PSG. They overcame that four goal deficit to eventually win the match 6-5, making it one of the greatest comebacks ever in the UEFA Champions League history. It's very interesting that I discovered that in Spanish they call it La Retonda. I think that's that. I don't know why it has escaped my mind right now, but I think it's La Retonda, the comeback, the biggest comeback ever in Champions League history, and one of the biggest comebacks ever, even in football history, actually. And so it's just so powerful that we all love a comeback story. We all do, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is that comebacks are not just limited to companies or clubs. The fact that you are here, right here with me, watching this, is proof that there's a comeback story in you. There's a comeback story in me. And I believe that this conversation is very, very important because many times what happens is that when we go through stuff, there is that temptation to think that things will always be like that, that it will always be a struggle, it will always be difficult, that, after you have been hit down over and over again, there's that temptation to want to accept it that, well, this is just what it's going to be, it's always going to be like this. Or if we're even hopeful or enthusiastic in any way about the future, we are like, okay, the best we can hope for is maybe a slight improvement or some kind of improvement on the present situation. But you and I are high performers, and that's why we have these conversations like this from time to time to remind us of the way high performers think. And one thing I want to remind you about is the fact that high performers do not just think slight improvement; they think quantum leap. That's how a high performer thinks. And to remind you that no matter what you might have gone through in the past, or no matter what you might be going through presently, to keep it at the back of your mind that your future, my future, can be radically different from what it is today. And that's just it. That whatever, look, I'm not just here to just gist you or to talk. You know how we do our things, right? And for me, it's that you need to picture that aspect of your life. And we all do have that aspect of our lives where we desire a comeback. It might be family, it might be relationship, it might be finances, it might be business, it might be career, whatever it is. But there is that aspect of our life, and we all do, where we desire to experience a comeback. It might be your health and fitness. And for me, what I want you to do right now is to picture that aspect of your life and to realize that no matter what you might have gone through in the past, or no matter what you are going through currently, the future can absolutely be radically different. You can experience a quantum leap in that particular aspect of your life. And that's why we're having this conversation this evening. And to say that, okay, what are those things that high performers do? What are those qualities? What are those traits that high performers do that help them to experience that quantum leap, that helps them to turn a setback into a comeback? And this evening, I'm going to be sharing with you three pivotal things that high performers do, traits, qualities that they have that helps them to turn a setback into a comeback in any aspect of their life. And number one is humility. Number one is humility, where, in other words, I know what I don't know and I am willing to learn. Humility, I know what I don't know and I am willing to learn. Now, what happens most of the time when we experience a setback, when um, we get that unfair treatment in life, or somebody lets us down and somebody disappoints us, we definitely absolutely get upset. But many times, what we don't do is to ask ourselves, okay, why am I upset? And at the end of the day, when you drill down, you begin to discover that the reason why we get upset is because we feel we are cheated. It's because we feel that somebody has robbed us, or life has robbed us of something that we deserve, something that we are owed, something that belongs to us. That's how we tend to feel. And because we feel like, oh, I'm so hardworking, I'm so diligent, I'm so intelligent, I'm so bright, I'm so smart, I'm so good looking. Absolutely, I agree. Yes, you are good looking. And that with all these strengths, with all these traits, that thing that you desire didn't come to you. Somehow you were denied. You were denied that opportunity, you were denied that yes you were looking for, and so you get upset. But one thing that we all need to remember is that it's very important for us to be willing to let go if we are going to enter into that future, that beautiful and that great future that is ahead of us. One reason many people are not able to turn a setback into a comeback is because they are holding on tightly onto the past. They are holding on tightly onto that hurt. Hi, Isobian, great to have you here. They are holding tightly onto that disappointment, that pain, that heartbreak that has happened. And the reason why people tend to hold on tightly is because we're looking at that person that let us down, or we're looking at life to pay us back for that unfair thing that's happened to us. My own job here this evening is to remind you that yes, it was unfair that you were disappointed. It was unfair that you were let down. It was unfair that not only did the person let you down, they even went ahead and perhaps even stabbed you in the back. It's really, really painful. It's really hurtful. But it's to remember that nobody can pay you back for the unfair things that has happened to you. Absolutely nobody. Whether the person that hurt you or that disappointed you in the past, that was directly responsible for it, or even any other person that you are feeling should maybe recompense you for whatever might have happened. Because now we get into new relationships, and we're expecting those people to pay us back for something that they have absolutely no idea of what must have happened to us. And if we're sincere to ourselves, it's really unfair to those people. It's really unfair to place that kind of burden on them. And it's coming back to that place that says the only person that can pay you back, the only person that can pay me back for those unfair things that might have happened is God. That's the only person that can pay us back. And to remember that He is the one that created us, and when He created us, He didn't need anybody's opinion. And so whatever they do or don't do to us does not matter to that great and glorious future that He has in mind for us. And so at the end of the day, He's saying that let's let God be our vindicator. Let God be the person that pays us back for those unfair things that happen to us. He will absolutely settle the accounts. Even if you forget anything today on this live session, I want you to remember this. And that's the fact that God will settle the accounts. He will balance, He will even the records. Hi, King Toba, great to have you here. He will settle the accounts. He will pay you back for those unfair things that has happened. But there's only one thing that He's asking of us if He's going to do that work of vindication, and that's humility. That's absolutely what He just requires of us, to be humble enough to admit that we don't know everything, both on a macro and a micro level, that we do not know everything. So it's that humility to learn that lesson, that you and I, we don't know everything on a macro and a micro level. Now, what do I mean? On a macro level, to realize that we don't know everything, in the sense that some of those disappointments that we encounter, some of those closed doors that we encountered, is because God has something bigger and better for us. He has a better thing for us, and we were holding on so tightly onto that thing and saying, "Look, except it goes like this, I will not be happy." And He is like, "See, look, you might not see the end picture right now. You don't know the end picture." And I love the way my mentor and my pastor puts it, Pastor Sam. He used to always say that many times we don't realize that some doors that we are pursuing and we are so eager to enter, we don't realize that if we force our way and we go through those doors, we realize that at the other side of those doors, there is no handle. Some of those doors only have one handle. So you go in, God forbid, you can't come out anymore. You discover that you are stuck. And so God, in His kindness, in His omnipotence and His omniscience, I hope I got the pronunciation of that word, that He knows everything. And He's saying that, look, I know that this is going to be a dead end, so I'm not going to allow you to go through that. And so it's getting to that place where we realize, where we acknowledge that I don't know everything. Hi, Ayola, great to have you here. I don't know everything on a macro level. And then even on a micro level, to also realize that some of the things that we thought we knew or that we had a very good grasp on, we actually don't know. So you are coming into that business, you are coming into that career, you are coming into that relationship, as a superstar, because you are very intelligent, you are very wise, you are savvy and all that. But it's coming to that place where you say to yourself that maybe I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. Maybe the knowledge that I needed, I didn't have it. And many of us are realizing these days, right, that in life, that intelligence is not enough. What you really need is wisdom. When the rubber meets the road, what you need is the real life application to get those results that you are looking for. The book knowledge is not going to be enough. The book knowledge is not going to serve you. What you actually need is the practical, is the hands down wisdom. Yes, sis. How you doing? Good evening, big sis. Great to have you here. Welcome, and thank you for joining. And so that's just the thing. You realize that at the end of the day, it's the wisdom that you need. But it takes humility to realize that, look, I don't know. I know what I don't know, and I am willing to learn. That's how we turn a setback into a comeback. That humility, being humble enough to say, look, I don't know this thing. And for me, that's why I believe this conversation is very important that we're having this evening, because when we experience setbacks, it's very easy for us to become bitter, for us to go through life with a chip on our shoulder. But one thing I just want to encourage and charge you with this evening is that, yes, I know that what happened was unfair. I know that you feel pained. I know that you feel disappointed. But if we are going to turn that setback into a comeback, you can't afford to go through life with a chip on your shoulder. This is the time, this is the season to double the effort, to recommit to your learning, to be passionate about your education, to now say, okay, fine, yes, I made a mistake. This thing didn't pan out exactly as I wanted. Now is the time for me to go after the real life application, the real wisdom that will help me get those results that I need to get. So be it, reading books, be it listening to podcasts, identify and saying to yourself, in this area that I'm experiencing a challenge, I need to double my efforts. I need to double down. I need to be more serious about my education in that area. Hi, Fumilola. Great to have you here. I need to be serious about my education in that area. And because, it's so funny that many times we are casual. You are going through challenges in your finances, but we are running up and down, complaining and whining and all that. But we have never come to that point where we say, okay, now I'm experiencing a challenge in this area. What have I done to educate myself in this area? And for me, that's just what it is. That, look, you and I are high performers. We know these things, but many times we need these reminders to say that the reason why we've come so far to this point, that we have achieved the level of success that we have achieved so far, is because we're serious about our education. That's just the truth. And to remind ourselves and to say that it's time to go back to the foundation, and to say that if my learning, if education has helped me to come this far, if I'm going to take my performance to a whole new level, then I need to double down on my education. I need to double down on my learning. I need to be more passionate. Enough of being casual. And that's how we turn setbacks into a comeback. Moving on, number 2 point, I've talked about humility. I know what I don't know and I'm willing to learn. The second thing that high performers have that help them to turn a setback into a comeback is this thing called responsibility. In other words, I act on what I know. The first thing is I know what I don't know and I'm willing to learn. Then the second thing is that I act on what I know. And it's so important, to remind ourselves as high performers that if we are going to experience a comeback in that area where we are facing a challenge right now, it's on us to make it happen. That's just it. It's on us to make it happen. I'm sure you might have come across that scripture in Judges that talks about the judge Jephthah when he came into this challenging situation with the Ammonites. And he makes a statement there that he sent for help. He asked people to come and help him. And look, these people ignored him, they didn't answer him, but he made a statement that is so life changing. He said, I took my life into my hands. I took my life into my hands. And that's just it. That if we are going to see a change, is that thing where we say, I have to take my life into my hands if I'm going to experience a comeback in that area presently where I'm experiencing a challenge. That's just it. And just like I said, we know these things as high performers, but that saying, right? I always say every day that common sense is not always common practice. We don't do these things. And how do I know that we don't do these things? Because trust me, I'm also talking to myself right now, even as I'm on this session. How do I know that we know the importance of responsibility, but many times we don't do it? Because of this, many times when we experience a setback or we experience a challenge, our default response many times is to put ourselves down. Hi, I am Kenny. Great to have you here. Our default response is to put ourselves down when we experience a setback or when we make a mistake. We're like, how can you do this? How can you be, I won't say so dumb, I won't say that word. How can you be so smart to make a mistake like this? Oh no, and we are beating ourselves over the head. We are just putting ourselves down, being hard on ourselves. Now, there is no how a person will beat himself down or be hard on himself and be able to take responsibility at the same time. It's not possible. It's not possible because the essence of that word responsibility is respond to your ability. Respond to your ability to figure things out. Respond to your ability to be able to turn around that mistake, to turn around that setback into a comeback. Now, how are you going to be able to respond to that ability if you are beating yourself down? If you are being hard on yourself? And so that's for me, that's why I believe this conversation is important to remind ourselves that look, we all make mistakes. High performance is not about the absence of mistakes. Please, I think we need to always remind ourselves about that important fact and truth. That high performance is not about the absence of mistakes. It's about the ability, it's about we staying the course. It's about we staying on the journey even despite the mistakes that we make, because we all make mistakes. High performance even more so, because okay, think about it. The person that is not bothered about improving his life, look, he's just there, he's not making any effort, he's just coasting. He's just coasting. That's the word. He's just coasting through life. So whether he's making a mistake, whether he's doing anything right, as far as he's concerned, he's just going through life as it is. But most times we high performers, because we are so concerned, we are so passionate about being the best version of ourselves, most times we are the ones that make mistakes. In the process of you trying to improve something or trying to make something better, guess what happens? At the end of the day, you end up blundering through two other things, three other things, four other things, and you're like, oh my God. But that's just what it is, that we all make mistakes. High performers, even more so. We all make mistakes. No one is perfect. All of us, we struggle. But it's remembering that, look, just because you failed one course does not mean that you give up on school. And I remember I was on a live session yesterday, and that just dropped in my heart, that just because you failed one subject or you failed one course doesn't mean that you drop out of school, right? That was a structured system that was institutionalized for us growing up. But now we have come out of school and we forget many of these principles, where you are trying to do something and just because you made a mistake, you now just threw the baby and the bath water together. But it's remembering that, look, it's about staying the course. Don't be hard on yourself. If there's anything that you need to do in this season, is please to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. You are trying, you are putting in the best effort, you are doing the best that you can. Give yourself grace. That's the only way that you will be able to respond to that ability on the inside of you, to really bring that thing that is inside of you and to turn that setback into a comeback. Next point, after talking about humility, I know what I don't know and I'm willing to learn. Responsibility, I act on what I know. And then the third thing is accountability. Accountability, how do you turn a setback into a comeback? The third and final thing I just want to share with you this evening is accountability. That's how high performance turn setbacks into comebacks. And accountability, which says that I understand the consequences of my action or inaction. Remember, the first one was I know what I don't know and I'm willing to learn. The second one, responsibility, I act on what I know. And the third one, accountability, which is I understand the consequences of my action or inaction. I trust me, this is where the entire game changes. This is the game changer. understanding the consequences of your action or inaction. Because it's one thing for you to know what you don't know and then to be willing to learn. It's another thing for you to now start taking action on the things that you know, but it's another thing to really, really understand the consequences of your action or inaction. Because just like I said, many times we begin to take this step, and then because we experience a challenge, we're like, no, 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 please, this is too difficult, and then we run away in the opposite direction. Or we tend to operate this kind of sense and say to ourselves that, okay, no, you know what, I know this thing is very important, I know I have to do it, but you know what, I will do it later. So we say, okay, I will do it next week, and then before you know it, next week becomes next month becomes next quarter becomes the second half of the year, and it keeps going on and on like that. So it's like we are always in that waiting mode where, okay, when I build my empire, then I will write the book. Or you are saying to yourself, okay, when all the kids have gone off to college, then I will travel to that dream destination that I want to really travel to. Or when the price of fuel goes down, then I will start that project that I have in my heart. And you know what we're all saying to ourselves, don't hold your breath. There is never going to be that perfect time, that perfect opportunity to do those things that you need to do in your heart. And it's accountability is getting to that point where you say to yourself that my action or my inaction, your action or your inaction has consequences. Because here's the thing, the lives of so many people, the destinies of so many people are tied to you, are tied to me. So whether we like it or not, now this is not to just carry an unnecessary burden, because remember, I already talked about responsibility. Give yourself grace. So this is not about saying, oh, you are the savior of the world or I'm the savior of the world. That's not it at all. But saying to ourselves that whether we like it or not, the destinies of people are tied to you, are tied to me. And it's to be able to bear it up with grace. Really, that's just what it's about. This is not about saying, oh, Kayode, look, you have come to heap an unnecessary burden upon me. No, come on, we're high performers. That's not what it's about. It's to bear it up with grace and to say to ourselves that, look, my action or inaction actually has consequences. I won't have forever. You and I don't have forever to do the things that are in our heart. Hi, Christy. Great to have you here. We don't have forever to do those things that are in our hearts. That's just the truth. We don't have forever. Our time on this earth has been measured out. We have a time that has been measured out for us to do those things that we have in our hearts. And to say that we don't have forever, look, there's never going to be a perfect time to do it. So you might as well just do it now. In fact, it's because the time is imperfect, because the situations are not perfect. That's why we have to do those things that we need to do. Imagine the fact that we are faced with the challenge of the prices of fuel in our nation right now. That's the reason why you have to do those things in your heart, really, because you have to do it now. Now is the time that it's needed, because of all the challenges that is going on in our nation right now. Now is the time that people are looking for problem solvers. People are looking for the person that will say, hey, I'm not going to be able to solve every problem, but this particular problem, this particular challenge, I will be the one to be the solution to provide it. And that's just what it is. Hi, Tracy. Great to have you here. And so that's just what it's about, that accountability to realize that my action or inaction, your action or inaction has consequences. The lives of so many people are tied to you, are tied to me. Go ahead and do your thing. Stop waiting until you have all the ducks in a row, all your ducks in a row. You've had that saying that when in life will all the stoplights be green? Short answer, never. So the conditions will never be perfect. You might as well go ahead and do your thing. It's not about having that fancy website or having that fancy logo or doing all those fancy things. Go ahead and start doing that thing that you have in your heart. If this is making sense, just type yes in the chat box. And so that's the thing. Those three things are the qualities that high performers have that helps them to turn setbacks into a comeback. Humility, I know what I don't know and I'm willing to learn. Responsibility, I what was that again? I act on what I know. And then the third one is accountability. Accountability, I understand the consequences of my action or inaction. Oh, thank you so much, Big Sis, for that feedback. Yes, 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 absolutely. And these things that I'm sharing with you are not just theory, are not just stories, even though it is actually a story. That's what I'm coming to. These are things that I'm learning practically over and over again in my life and in my business. Um, 2013 was the year that I held my first seminar as a full-time coach and author. 2013, yes. 2013 was the year that I held my first seminar as a full-time coach and author. And not too long after organizing that first seminar, I immediately went broke. And I'm talking about the fact that things were so challenging, so difficult to the point that at some point my wife and I had to move back into the family house, and we were there for a while. And fast forward 2013, 2023, this year, some weeks ago, 3rd of June to be exact, I had my first live in-person paid seminar, and I had 23 attendees. 23 people paid to attend that seminar. Now, you need to understand that we are talking about a paid in-person seminar in a time and season where everybody is saying everything is virtual. Why will you do an in-person seminar? And you are charging that amount. Who knows you to be willing to part away with that amount of money to come and attend an in-person seminar? But for me, it's just so heartwarming that 23 people paid, 23 people signed up to be part of that seminar. And every time I think about it, I'm just always so grateful to God, so grateful to my family, for their love and support. And every time I think about it, and I'm like, what made the difference? Because my prayer and my desire is that that will also be your testimony. And it's not about the fact that you need to organize a seminar or something, but just like I said, each and every one of us has that area in our lives where we desire a comeback. Oh, thank you so much, Big Sis. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. You definitely were one of the people that made it happen, and I'm so grateful to you. And that's just the thing, that we all have that area in our lives where we all desire a comeback. Really, every one of us, even the billionaire person has that area in his or her life where they desire a comeback. Just like I said, it could be spiritual, it could be financial, it could be family, business, life, whatever. And so he's saying to ourselves that really, how do we turn those setbacks into a comeback? That's how it happens. Humility. For me, it was the humility to say to myself, Kaide, see, the truth about it is that you have great zeal, you have great passion, but the thing you are lacking is wisdom. And that was one of the biggest lessons I had, that I had zeal without wisdom. That what was important wasn't about how smart or how intelligent or how hardworking I was, but about the fact that there was somebody that knew the way to get those results that I wanted to get. And I had to be willing to humble myself and go and ask this person that, please, how do you do it? Please, can you show me? Like, it didn't matter whether, look, it's not about whether you finish graduating from school with a first class or a 2-1, you are a superstar, you are a genius. There is the wisdom. And the interesting thing is that those are the two ways that we learn in life, right? Either by mistakes or by mentors. Those are the two ways we learn, by mistakes or by mentors. But sometimes the mistakes can actually be very, very costly. That's one thing we need to remember and keep in mind. And that's why we're having this conversation this evening. That the mistakes can be very, very costly. So why not let us be proactive and start saying, okay, who are those mentors that I need to now begin to seek their guidance, who can guide me on the right path to be able to get those results that I want to get and to be able to get them quickly. That's what the humility is all about. Then the second thing was responsibility. The responsibility to say to myself, "Hey, if you say you are a high performer, are you doing the things that other high performers do? Stop paying lip service to this thing and actually put in the work. It doesn't matter that you are motivating people. Motivation is not the same thing as high performance. For me, that was a big and a huge lesson, that you can be motivating people, you can be very motivational, but motivation is not the same thing as high performance. Motivation is not the same thing as the results. And so taking on that responsibility to say to myself that you need to do these things is one thing to be talking the talk, but it's another thing to actually walk the walk. And it's very important. Are you walking the walk? And for a very long time, it's very difficult. Many times we don't like correction, right? Because it feels uncomfortable. It makes you feel like, how can I do something like this because of despite how smart and how handsome I am. With that ego thing is always playing. But until I read the scripture in Proverbs that says that if you love learning, then you love the discipline that comes with it. How short-sighted it is to refuse correction. Wow, that blew my mind. It says if you love learning, then you love the discipline that comes with it. How short-sighted to refuse correction. In case you didn't quite catch that, the kind of Nicolades translation to that scripture simply means that don't, in the bid to gain short-term comfort, end up signing up for long-term suffering. I'll say that again. Don't, in the bid to gain short-term comfort, end up signing up for long-term suffering. And that's interesting. That's many times what a lot of people are struggling with. The short-term affirmation that, oh, I'm great, I'm awesome, or I'm doing well, and all that. Everybody's patting you on the back. You too, you're patting yourself on the back. That short-term affirmation and that short-term comfort makes you lose sight of areas of your life that you're saying to yourself that I can do better in this area. Really, I can do better. Yes, I can do a better job of this. And to say to yourself that just because you realize that you are not doing so well in this area doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just simply means that you just need to do better. And I'm so glad that I put it like that, not to say you are doing badly, but that you can do better. So it's that positive angle, that positive perspective, and just taking it up to the next level. And then the final thing is accountability. To say, I was saying to myself that you don't have forever to do these things that are in your heart. You don't have forever to buy those nice things that you say you want to buy for the people that you love and that matter to you. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? I'm sure you've heard that saying before. That you don't have forever to give the people you love, to give them the flowers while they can still smell them. You won't have forever to be able to give that flowers to them. And so that if you don't start taking action now, then when? Realizing that my actions, just like I mentioned before, my action or inactions has huge consequences, and this is the right time. This season is the right time to start taking action, to start doing those things that we have on our hearts. And for me, that's just it. That's my own comeback story, and is a journey that hasn't finished. It's an ongoing process. And the reason why we're here is to say to ourselves that you have a comeback story in you. I have a comeback story in you. Your comeback story is the next. I can't wait to celebrate with you, really, as we put in those traits of humility, responsibility, and accountability. I can't wait to hear your own comeback story. To remember that no matter what you might have gone through in the past, or no matter what you are going through at the moment, the future is so open and free. The future can be radically different from what it is right now. I think that's one thing that we need to remind ourselves of, that the future can be radically different. And we're not talking about a slight improvement, we're talking about a quantum leap. There is more in you, there is more to you and me than meets the eye. I love the way it's a scripture in First Kings, where Solomon was talking about the fact that the only person that knows our life from the inside is God. He alone has that inside knowledge about us. What that simply means is that if you and I think that we have the potential for greatness, if you and I think that we are great, we have great potential, Look, you and I have absolutely no idea. You have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea. The only person that really knows is God. And so the what it just simply means that in this season, these are the time for us to hold closely to Him, to be very close to Him, to draw as close as we can to Him, to say that look, that inside knowledge that you have of me, that inside knowledge that only you knows of me, let it become a reality. Let me walk in the reality of it. And I know that definitely, absolutely, that's your testimony, that's my testimony, and I can't wait to celebrate with you this new week that we're going into. Just wishing you uncommon grace, uncommon insight, uncommon wisdom, uncommon strength, that you will do things that even you yourself will be a surprise to yourself. It's one thing for you to be surprised to people around you, but it's another thing for you to be a surprise to yourself. And for me, that's just my prayer for you, my prayer and my sincere desire for you in this new week that we're going into. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you have any questions, please let me have them now. Big Sis, thank you so much for staying on throughout this session. You are awesome. You're the best. And for everyone joining, Bisola, Doris Bisola, Courage, Oge Trifts, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, humility, responsibility, accountability. That's how we turn our setbacks into a comeback. I've had so much fun doing this with you this evening. Awesome privilege. I talked about my live in-person paid event that happened 3rd of June. Great and fantastic time, helping entrepreneurs and executives take their life and business and career to a whole new level. In case you missed that event, you have another opportunity to sign up for another program that I have coming up next month in July, and that's called the $100 Week. In case you missed that live in-person event, which was the 7-figure pitch seminar, look, that event was explosive. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it. It was really explosive. Great, awesome time of learning and sharing. And then you don't want to miss, if you missed that one, you don't want to miss the $100 Week that is coming up next month in July. It's a 30-day coaching program. This one is an online course, a 30-day coaching program where I'll be holding your hand to show you how to make $100 in a week. And trust me, once you hit that, you can duplicate and do it over and over again. Just like what we're saying, this is the time for humility. This is the time to take responsibility. This is the time to act accountability. Because of everything that we're seeing around us in our world right now, the price of fuel going up, prices of everything going up. But the interesting thing is that you are asking yourself, okay, so what's happening to my earning power, right? What's happening to your earning power? What's happening to my earning power? We're saying, look, this is the time to take your life in your hands. You want to be part of that program. 30 days. It's not funny. 30 days that will all be together as a community, as a group, accountability, sharing insights, and to say, let us make this thing happen. You want to be part of it. It's going to be life changing. It's going to be life transforming. Um, Send me a DM. Just send me a DM here on Instagram. The $100 Week. Send me a DM. The $100 Week, and I'll send you the link for you to get signed up on that program. You know how I do my things. It's the issue of under promise and over deliver. You will be so grateful. You will be so grateful. You can start thanking me now to be part of that event and to be part of that program. So send me a DM and let's absolutely make it happen. Let's be part of those people who say to ourselves, I don't only want to be locally rich, I actually want to be globally rich. How do I make money? How do I make money in dollars right here, even in Nigeria? So that's what we're saying. And to do that in a week, 30 days, to say, okay, let's do a deep dive and look at those opportunities and say, how do we make this happen? That's what it's about. You need to be part of that event, and you definitely be glad you did. Have any questions? No questions. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's a new week, brand new week starting off tomorrow. Wishing you the very best, even as you go into the new week to make all those goals happen, remember that there's somebody here, Kayode here, that is solidly cheering you on every step of the way, praying for you, rooting for you every step of the way. That look, you will have every reason, to celebrate, have every reason, to always be happy, and to have that powerful testimony that you truly, truly desire. Do have a great week ahead, and see you same time, same station. See you same time, same station next week on our next high performance live, and we'll keep talking throughout the week. You'll be getting more updates and insights from me throughout the course of the week until our next live session. Do take care. Your greatness is very sure.